Perry Mason on HBO. Season 2 premiered this past Monday, and the star Matthew Rhys is here on the program. And I just love the idea of taking Perry Mason and kind of turning it into an LA Confidential, a Chinatown type vibe to this show.
Yeah.
Is that how it was pitched to you originally?
Absolutely. You know, when they said we're going to take it back to, you know, as I said, when the books were, he had a rougher edge, I think, in the books.
Yes.
He tended to go around town beating people up, and
was not Raymond Burr, is what you're saying.
No, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. The reimagination he was not going to be your father's, you know, Perry Mason,
right?
Which he wasn't. And you know, the writers said we want to load his bases, make him a little rough. They made him a World War I veteran.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they kind of, you know, they gave him this incredible backstory. So we saw the origin story of how he became the lawyer in season 1, which just adds to the kind of richness, the layer of it.
But there was only supposed to be a season 1, right?
There was, yeah. We were meant to do a one and done, but the public spoke. No, you know, I think
that's cool.
Yes, no, it really is. It's everything you ever dream of. Is that HBO went, you know, the reaction's been great, and how do you feel about a second? So I gladly put on the fedora again.
So when it was done, you thought it was done when it was done?
Yeah, we did. No, that was it. As we rolled into COVID, I just thought that was the end of Mason for me.
Right.
And it did well.
So did you rewatch any of the old Perry Masons? You're just like, that is so far afield of what we're going to do, it doesn't even matter.
It is, and I've in the past I've done parts that have been originated by other actors, and I have watched them, and to my detriment, because I know I have this weird thing where I know somewhere subconsciously or unconsciously I will mimic or regurgitate, or in some way, you know, it'll come out. So I when that happens now, I just leave the source, the originators alone.
Yes.
And try and, you know, start from scratch and, you know, bring it up organically.
Matthew Rhys here on the Rich Eisen Show. And for our radio audience, I mean, folks who know you and watch Perry Mason, seeing on the Roku channel, they know it's you. On the radio, they might be, this sounds nothing like Perry Mason. So how do you do such an incredible American accent, Matthew?
You know, this is what I've said, and I continue to say, is basically, I think, especially kids who are of the 80s in the UK.
Yes.
We were all, you know, early 80s, we were all raised watching Starsky and Hutch and the A-Team and Airwolf and, you know, American show. We were raised on American shows.
So is Dallas still too early or no?
No, Dallas is
Who
huge.
Shot JR was huge, right?
Of course.
Right.
Bobby Ewing in the shower, like, come on, what's going on? Is that what happens in America? It must be great. It's the promised land. Patrick Duffy emerges unscathed.
Okay.
Yes.
So it is not too early then.
No,
Very good.
no.
Okay.
No. So,
right.
you know, we would be in our backyards pretending to be, you know, Starsky and Hutch, not you know, trying to act out Downton Abbey. That's what we did. We tried to impersonate Americans from an early age.
And so, I mean, so it comes naturally to you because that's what you did as a child, or is you just imagine the biggest a-hole you know of and think you can imitate that person, or
No,
what is it?
I just think it's bedded in from a very early age. The early foundations are in deep. You know, you're continually. I was listening to that sound, and you know, when you're out playing Cowboys and Indians, you're trying to sound as realistic as possible. And then obviously in drama school, you know, they hammer it in pretty hard. And then I did a production of talking of shows that have had an originator. I did a production of The Graduate in the West End with Kathleen Turner as my Mrs. Robinson.
Oh my goodness!
Where I knew I had to kind of nail an American accent, so I really put a lot of time in on that one.
So you Dustin Hoffman it up? Is that what you're saying, or you didn't watch it because you didn't want to?
No, that's what I did. So I went straight. You know, I'd watched The Graduate, obviously.
Yes.
And then I went back and I watched it, and I could feel myself taking lines and just, you know, dusting them. So I don't do that again. But Hoffman actually, he came to a matinee.
Of you performing in The Graduate?
Yes.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
I know. And that you know, one of the things I wanted to say to the theatre manager at the time is, why did you tell me he was in? Who would do that?
Right.
And also, it was my introduction to this thing that happens. It happens in Broadway, it happens in the West End in London, where if a very famous person is doing a play, other famous people will come to see them and come around stage backstage to see them, regardless of whether they know them or not.
Right.
So after the first few, like I would say that Kathleen Turner was very kind to me. She was always like, come and meet, whomever was, James
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas came, James Coburn, Tom Hanks, and some of the times I go, do you know James Coburn? She goes, no, but he just came to say hello. This is what happens. So anyway, this had been happening. We'd all been invited. You'd get the knock on the door, and her dresser would be there saying, Miss Turner would like to invite you to a glass of champagne, which means there's a famous person in. And I would go, who is it? And she would say, so we hear Hoffman is in, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to meet Dustin Hoffman. He's going to come round, right? Never came backstage.
Get out of here.
No.
So how do you take that?
Devastated. Absolutely devastated. It's never quite been the same for me since.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Because that's where you want the champagne call.
Of course. You want Hoffman to go, well, you just want that paternal nod. We're just looking for our father's approbation at all time, and for him to go, well done.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Didn't get it.
Plastics.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No.
Okay.
Zippo.
Matthew Reese here on the Rich Eisen Show, and you were kind enough when I met you in our green room when I mentioned to you how I saw Michael Sheen, a fellow Welshman.
Yes. Yes.
Is that the proper term?
Oh,
okay,
yes. Yeah. Very much so.
A fellow Welshman speaking to the Welsh men's national football team.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Am I saying this properly?
Say that.
Okay,
yes, appreciate it.
I'm trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, noted.
And his speeches were intense.
Yes.
And Michael.
Yes,
right?
I lived with Michael.
Where were your speeches is what I asked you.
Well, I like to think that predominantly most of his speeches are based on my speeches, although my speeches were given from, couches on Saturday nights.
Yes.
Post-game, post-drinking,
Sure.
So he's drawn a lot of inspiration from me, basically.
Understood.
Yes.
Without you, he's nothing.
He is literally nothing.
Understood.
Yes. So I've been privy to those speeches several times. So it was nothing new to me.
Okay, very good. I imagine you are a fan. Are you a fan of football or another sport? Or
yeah,
what?
I mean, for me, growing up, rugby was the big game.
Rugby.
That was the game I played, and that was the game still watch. But yes, Cardiff, the city I'm from, has a football team, and I was, I'm a Cardiff supporter. But then obviously, we all got swept away for the World Cup because it was the first time in 50, 60 years.
And who did you play in the first match? The Americans.
That was a big day because I had so many American fans going, where are we going to watch this game? And I thought it was kind of very equally matched as well. It was going to be a good game.
Yes.
So I went to an American bar with some Welsh friends.
You did?
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
yeah, in Brooklyn, yeah.
Because normally, I don't know, for a big match, I can't be around other people. You know what I mean?
If it was a rugby game, I wouldn't.
Really?
Yes, I can't. I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, it gets too intense for me. In fact, I've had to stop watching England versus Wales now because my partner thinks I'm going to have a heart attack. So I've actually stopped watching that game.
Is that just for health?
Yeah, literally. She goes, you're going to have an aneurysm or something bad will happen if you continue to watch those two teams.
So you were able to go to a bar in Brooklyn.
Yes.
To take in this match, and everyone here in Los Angeles knows Gareth Bale because he won the MLS Cup. For LAFC.
Yeah.
Very handsome man. Very handsome.
He is
man.
Great ambassador for Wales, and to me that was like the fairy tale ending for him. Who's he's been living with some injury for some time now. Yeah. There was always great debate as to where he was going to go after being all those years in Spain, and I just thought it was ideal way for him to go out with with that medal.
And then
that ring.
And then obviously the Americans moved on, and Wales, that had to be a bitter pill, I imagine, right?
That was. No? I mean, listen, one of the worst things for me was seeing us being drawn with England in the first round. That was just a killer blow because that was a cruel turn of fate.
Yes,
it was a great matchup. I thought against the USA. I thought that's great, and then Iran. I thought that's a chance to win.
You got it.
That's the opportunity.
Yes,
and we didn't.
They did not.
And it was a big stage. I don't think that they quite played to the potential that they've shown in the past, which was a real shame. But just to watch them at a World Cup was incredible.
Sure, but there's only one person you can point the finger of blame to. It's Michael Sheen.
Well, we did.
He did not.
We did text it.
He did not do his job.
No.
You know,
it wasn't inspirational enough.
Correct.
But we've always said that about Michael. Yeah, it's the
Matthew Reese here on the Rich Eisen Show. Speaking of the Americans, did you see what I did right there?
I did. Seamless.
Fantastic show.
Yeah.
How did you prepare for your role for that program?
Well, fortunately enough, Joe Weisberg, the gentleman who originated, who created and wrote, is a former CIA operative himself.
Yes.
So the scripts were always sent. First people ever to read the scripts were the CIA, because if you're a former intelligence officer writing about intelligence, they would vet it. Immediately. So we would get notes from, the CIA. So we had that wealth behind us, and he would give us counter surveillance lessons, all sorts, which I thought I'd be relatively good at, because basically counter surveillance is pretending something isn't there, which is, I just thought, well, actors do that with cameras all the time. I'm going to be a master of this. I was appalling at it. He gave me away several times. So there was, we had this font of, information in Joe. And then there was another gentleman who was an illegal, as they were called.
Yes.
Who came over with the KGB, set up as an American, and then was actually turned by the CIA, by the FBI, sorry. We had these incredible people around us telling us that, because my greatest sentence all the time was saying, this is just too unbelievable.
Right.
And they would always say, this actually happened. That's what.
You got a good example of that, where you're getting a script, or you're acting in a scene?
One of the early ones on the first episode of the first season was when Philip, my character, takes on another guy's, as a gentleman called Clark. And he tries to romantically woo a kind of a secretary in the FBI. And this was an enormous operation by the KGB. It was something like Operation Romeo, where KGB illegals were trained in the art of kind of, wooing and charm. I think it was by an Englishman, to kind of woo these low-level, cleared secretaries with the hope of marrying them in order to gain, intelligence gathering, which was stunning to me. It was the audacity of the KGB, especially in the early 80s, is dizzying.
Well, yeah. And then that's what's so incredible about this show is how what I think are great television shows are made where I'm rooting for you, and I'm also kind of rooting against you.
Yeah.
And I'm totally conflicted. Breaking Bad was that way for me in many ways. Like I'm rooting for Walter White, and then I'm rooting against Heisenberg, and they're the same person. And I was rooting for you, I was rooting against you, and it was amazing.
Yeah, and we're
amazing the whole time.
I think we're in this great age of the anti-hero now, where the kind of the balance of doing that of the conflict, brings up in an audience, I think is always, it just enriches it and enhances it. But yes, it was the kind of perfect. It was the perfect anti-hero of going, let's make the KGB operatives the heroes.
What do you think about more of them? I mean, I know the way it ended. I don't want to I guess we're past the spoiler alert. But
yes, yeah.
It is. I mean, anything can be written for you and Kerry Russell and obviously the whole cast to get back together again.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Yeah. Funnily enough, we're all the whole team of us, including the writing staff. We're all having a dinner very soon because we're celebrating 10 years.
Okay. So
and we joke about doing a 2-hour special where we close out, or we go back to see where they all are 10 years. 10 years on.
And.
I'm all in for it because as conclusive as it was, it's incredibly open-ended as well, because they abandon the children, they head to Moscow. You absolutely no idea of what's going to happen.
Count me in on that.
Good.
I would absolutely be in on that for sure. And you and I, our filmographies have one thing in common. It's acting with Frank Langella. Believe it or not, I was in a movie called Draft Day, in which he played the owner of a team, and I was playing myself. I do my own accents.
Brilliant.
And thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I remember we were shooting it on the set of an NFL draft that I was hosting, and I had the scripts in front of me, and I was just doing my other job, and I didn't learn the lines at all. And Frank Langella came up in these glasses, introduced himself to me, and asked me if I wanted to read lines with him, and I was not prepared. and I literally had one of those. You know, you have your dream where you're back in college and you're going to fail the class because you're not studying.
Yeah.
I freaked out. I was not ready. I asked him for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
He gave me a couple minutes.
Good.
And I looked at the script and I put it out in front of me, and he knew it off the top of his head, and I was reading, and I thought to myself, he hates me. That's what I thought to myself.
How did it go?
It went well.
Good.
Yeah, the residual checks come in. They're
amazing.
They're $1.50 or
That's
whatever.
all you want?
That's it.
Is it on YouTube? Can we watch this?
It's called Draft Day. Yeah. Kevin Costner's in it.
Oh my goodness.
Me and my buddy Kevin. Yeah, we go way back.
Amazing. I'm gonna look this up.
You and I have had something in common.
Yeah, I mean, no one has stories like Frank Langella. His showbiz stories. Well, yeah, I mean, he writes books about them now.
Yes,
unashamedly.
I bet so. Oh, and I forgot the other thing is I've thrown cocaine out of a plane.
Have you really?
No, I've not.
But you see, I wouldn't have done. I would have followed you on that one. I was like, "There's nothing about you that would make me think that you hadn't."
I'm the most interesting man in the world.
Yes. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to see you kicking off Cocaine Bear.
I wasn't expecting to be in it when we went to Ireland to shoot, and I was looking at the script, and I said to Kerry, I was like, "Who's playing that guy at the beginning in that opening scene?" Because I don't know. I went, text Banksy, tell her I'll play it, or text her, say, can I play it?
Yeah, Elizabeth Banks.
Yes, sorry, okay. Yes. Who Elizabeth was working with Kerry on another project, and just said, "Look, I know we're doing this. I have this other movie that's greenlit in Ireland. Mm-hmm. You know, we're going to shoot Tennessee Ireland as Tennessee over the summer. Do you want to do it?" And it's called Cocaine Bear. And Kerry went, Cocaine Bear? Cocaine Bear? Yeah. No one can still quite get over the title. That's when I look back, that was what I enjoyed most. Was when you broke that title to people. Like, Kerry's doing a film called Cocaine Bear, and everyone goes, "Sorry, you broke up then. What did you say?" You went, Cocaine Bear. Yes. Yeah. But the guy who threw the cocaine out of the plane, Andrew Thornton III.
Yes.
I swear to you, deserves a movie about his life. He deserves the prequel.
What do you got?
I'm already pitching it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what's his story? Do you know?
I mean, it's long, varied, and very interesting. Ultimately, he was a DEA agent who kind of figured out that he could fly small planes of coke back into the U.S., into the Appalachians.
So he broke bad, is what you're saying.
Exactly. He was a double agent for a long time. Uh-huh. You know, the rumor is, when they realized that there was an altercation on the plane, they also think he was having a fight with his karate instructor on the plane, killed his karate instructor, threw the cocaine out, jumped out, and then they don't even know how his parachute didn't open, because there was no malfunction with the parachute. It was a fully operational one. There was no marks on him, but he fell to his death.
Is that why you're doing karate kicks on the plane?
Yes, yeah, he was studying karate at the time. He traveled everywhere with his karate instructor. I mean, come on. Andrew Thornton deserves this.
And so let's go. This is great. So So the movie could just be about his life, and then the last scene is what you just did.
Literally ramp up the last few seconds on. You just show that first scene of Cocaine Bear.
That's the last scene of the film.
Yes. Yeah.
And roll credits.
Right. Let's get this financed right now. Go. Right here. Yeah. Call in if you'd like to finance. Yeah. We'll call it Cocaine Hair.
Did you read lines with Kerry, like just shaking your head, like what the hell is this movie all about?
Yeah. I was like, I'm reading lines with you. First of all, I want to read this. So yeah, I would kind of run around the house going. And she was like, she's like, "That's a Wookiee, you half-wit." And I was like, "All right, I'm trying my best."
Fantastic. Oh my gosh. Perry Mason airs Mondays at 9 Eastern time on HBO. New episodes. Good luck. Season 2 premiered on this past Monday. Anything you want to come in and talk about, you are more than welcome to come back.
Like I said, very much.
Big fan. And just say, if you want, just drop at the dinner. Kelly O'Coin's been here. I don't know if he's going to be part of the dinner. For the Americans.
I hope so.
I hope so too. Okay, so let's just hope as well.
Yeah.
Just throw it in there.
Yeah.
Plus 3, plus 4.
Love it.
Let's do it.
Great.
Let's get it done.
Brilliant.
Very good. Matthew Reese is here on The Rich Eisen Show. Everyone, check out Perry Mason on HBO. Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.